multiply fractions. To multiply fractions, we're going to multiply the numerators together, and we're going to multiply the denominators together. So in example 1, the original job was for a fabric that was 45.5 inches long. Now the job requires to scale it by 5.5. What is the new length of the fabric needed? So we can see we're going to multiply these two fractions together. So we have 45 over 2, right? Just an improper fraction, which works. It's easier to multiply. And then 5 over 2, which is 2.5, right? And so now we're just going to multiply. So what we're going to do, we're going to multiply the numerators together, and then we're going to multiply the denominators. So let's go ahead and do that. So we have 45 times 5. So let's go ahead, just put this off to the side. 5 times 5 is 25, 4 times 5 is 20, plus 2 is 22. So we have 225 on the top. Now 2 times 2, well, that's 4. Now we don't have any common factors, right? 5 is on the top, or a 9, like our 3. And then on the bottom, we have like factors of 2. So this is our reduced fraction. Now let's look at another example. Example 2. If a person can run 25 over 4 miles in 1 hour, how many miles can a person run in 2.5 hours at that rate? And we're going to use the fraction 5 over 2 instead of 2.5. So let's go ahead and multiply these two fractions. So we have 25 over 4 times 5 over 2. So we're going to, right, once again, multiply the top, then we're going to multiply the bottom together. So it's just really two multiplications that we do on this. So for the top, 25 times 5, right, if you have 5 quarters, that's $1.25, or in our case, 25 times 5 is just 125. And then on the bottom, 4 times 2 is 8. So that's our answer. Now let's do one more example. Example 3, we're going to solve for the following. So let's remember our rule about multiplying two negatives together. Right, multiplying two negative numbers together will equal positive. So this is still true with fractions, so our answer will be positive. So let's still go ahead and rewrite this below. Once again, we're going to multiply the top together, and then we're going to multiply the bottom together. So let's go ahead and do that. So we know our answer is positive. And then on the top we have 2 times 15, so that's 30. And then on the bottom we have 5 times 8, and that's going to be 40. So we end up with 30 over 40. So notice that this is 30 over 40. We can actually just reduce both the top and the bottom by 10. So if because we want to have a reduced fraction, rather than doing it by 2 and then by 5, we know that we can take out 10 because these are multiples of 10. So let's go ahead and do that. So 30 divided by 10, that's 3. 40 divided by 10 is 4. So this is our solution. But I'm going to also teach you tricks because it's a little bit faster sometimes when you don't always see what the common factors are or how far you can go. So here's our trick. Okay, so when we have, what we can do here is we see we have a 5 here and a 15 here. So we know when we multiply, we can divide out common factors, right? And so we're just going to do it in a step before we do everything. So before we multiply, we can go ahead and cross this out and cross this out. Now, both of them have a factor of 5 in them, right? Or a multiple of 5. So we can go 5 divided by 5. So that's a 1. Now, 15 divided by 5 is 3. right? All we did was 15 divided by 3. Sorry, 15 divided by 5, and that was 3. Now, we also notice that we have a 2 and an 8. Those are both even. So we can go ahead and divide 2 by 2. So that's 1. 8 divided by 2. So that's 4. And then we can go ahead and multiply. Negative times negative, positive. 1 times 3, 3. 1 times 4 is 4. So you see we got to the same answer using our trick. Now let's go look at another example. So we have 11 over 6 times negative 4 over 7. Let's go ahead and rewrite that. First thing we're going to notice is we have only one negative sign. So that means our answer is going to come to be negative. So let's just go ahead and write that so we don't leave it. Now, we're going to use our trick. So the first thing we're going to notice is that this 11 and this 7, they don't have any common factors. So we can't divide out any common factors between those. And then we're going to look at the 6 and 4. Notice we always go kind of across from each other on this. Usually when fractions are presented to you, they are in the reduced form, so you wouldn't do it over each other unless it's not reduced, and then you might do it then. But that's why we always look across. So this 6 and this 4, both can be divided by 2. So they both have a factor of 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now let's go ahead and multiply. We're going to multiply the top, then we'll multiply the bottom. So we have 11 times 2 is 22. 3 times 7 is 21. And this is reduced, so we are done.